May I now request Thiru V. Balakrishnan, the Chairman Microgram and ex-CFO Infosys and the Board of Governor of ICT Academy of Tamil Nadu to deliver his keynote address.
Good morning, friends. It is my pleasure to come and talk to all of you. I always try to be in the crowd of youngsters. At least, even if I don't look young, I can feel young. One of the reasons I left Infosys and started a private equity fund is because a lot of innovation is happening in the technology space. Technology is in fact redefining the world, it's improving productivity, is automating a lot of things. A lot of things which looked impossible in the past are becoming possible, and a lot of youngsters are having great ideas, and the ecosystem today helps them to innovate and play a larger role and participate in this innovation process. If you look at how the technology world has changed, there were three defining things which happened in the past, and the stars are getting aligned today. The first one was a computer revolution, which happened some 4 or 5 decades back. Earlier, you used to have a mainframe computer. Then the Microsoft Windows came, desktops came, and the mainframe got liberated, and it came to your desktops and laptops. So the distributed computing model came into place some 4 or 5 decades back. Then the microchip revolution happened. That means today, you can have a mainframe computer in your laptop or in your phone. So you are carrying a mainframe computer today in your hand. That allowed you to do complex algorithms, complex software technologies to reach the global masses. The third one is the internet evolution, which happened a decade back, which allowed people to develop software and technology across the world for any part of the world. So the distribution happened in technology, the power of the computer enhanced, and it has come to people's hands, and the internet allowed people to solve global complex problems sitting in any part of the world. In fact, the Indian IT industry is a classic example of that. The offshore development concept has come in 1991 because of the distributed computing model and because of the evolution of the internet. Today, if you look at the Indian IT industry, it is close to some $120 billion. Most of it has come from pure services. But we strongly believe the next 100 billion for the industry is going to come from products, IPs and platforms. Globally, a lot of revolution is happening on the IP space. A lot of interesting products are coming up. To give you an example, there's a company called Uber. It is nothing but a taxi service. But what they have done is, your experience of hiring a taxi gets substantially enhanced if you use that app. You just, whichever part of the world you are, you open the app, it tells you which taxi is nearby to your location. It identifies the location using the GPRS. It has got your credit card information. It tells you where the car is, shows you in the Google map. The car comes and you get into the car and get off. There's a charge to a credit card. In US, it's very popular. And that company is today valued at close to $20 billion. It may hardly have some 300, 400 employees. So I think technology is getting used in various walks of life. It is transforming businesses. It is improving productivity. And most of the revolution is happening because of great technology ideas coming up. We started a private equity fund called Xfinity Fund. We raised some 125 crores. We looked at some 120 companies and finally investing in 3 or 4 companies. Today, a lot of product startup companies are coming up in India. Earlier, most of the youngsters, engineers, they want to join service companies. But the service companies have become large and they're getting more matured. So people who worked in the industry for 15 years, 20 years, they're all hitting the ceiling. They all want to become entrepreneurs. So they are coming with some good product ideas and starting companies. And earlier, the family was not supporting young entrepreneurs because you have to work in a startup company, sometimes not taking salary for 2 years, 3 years. Today the family accepts that, the family supports that. I know a lot of youngsters who started companies in Bangalore, they're not taking any pay for the last 2, 3 years, but they're pursuing the idea, they're pursuing the dream, and the family supports it. And even if you look at good education institutions like IIT or IIM, today 15 to 20% of the youngsters are joining startups. Right? Earlier it was not so. Earlier most of them try to join a large IT company or go and join an investment bank. Today they are willing to start a startup and the ecosystem is supporting them. And today there are a lot of private equity funds which will come and fund your idea if it is good. And number 4, the cost of starting up a business has come down dramatically. If you look at 10 years back, if you have to start a business in the IT services, IT product space, you require at least $150,000 a month. Today with $1,500 a month, because the cloud ecosystem is there, you'll be able to start a company. So the cost of starting up a business has come down, the funding is available, the risk-taking ability has gone up. There are good entrepreneurs who worked in the industry or got technology background, are willing to take the risk and start companies. So I think India is slowly becoming a big product hub. Bangalore itself, there are some 1,000 startup companies coming up every year. We strongly believe that next Google can definitely come from India. Because the ecosystem is available, there are young entrepreneurs who have got good ideas and they are willing to take the risk. If you look at a traditional IT services business, you require large amount of employees to create a certain amount of revenues. For example, TCS, if you take, they have some $11 billion of revenue, they may have some 350,000 employees. Infosys, 160,000 employees for $8 billion revenue. But if you compare it with companies globally, which are in the product space, like a Facebook, they have $10 billion of revenues. It is almost similar to TCS size, but they have only 7,100 employees. TCS has got something around 3 lakh employees, right? Apple, $178 billion in revenues, they have only 80,000 employees. But the market cap is $577 billion. So today, the value is more and more created on good product companies which are very innovative. If you don't innovate, if you don't have a technology which is disruptive, you don't have a play. So the traditional way of creating value is disproportionately changing in favor of innovation, of product companies which are highly disruptive, which change the business model. If you look at the kind of customers they have, it's huge. I mean, Facebook has got 1.3 billion customers, equal to the size of Indian population. So if you are in Facebook, you are able to reach a large population across the world on what you want, about your services, about your thinking, about your product ideas. So today, that is becoming a nation in itself. Twitter itself will have some 600 million customers. So these guys are able to create technology which will reach a wider set of people and which can create disruption across industries. For example, I will give you some examples where technology has disrupted traditional business. There is a bookstore called Borders in the US. In the late 90s, when you used to go to US, we all tried to buy book from Borders. It's a physical bookstore. In 2001, they created an online version of selling books. But they quickly figured out online version is not going to take them anywhere. It is non-core to them. So they sold that to Amazon. Amazon used that platform, created the biggest online digital store for books in the world. Borders filed for bankruptcy 3 years back. So Amazon was able to use the digital technology, use the internet community to reach a large set of people and created a good backend and competed with a traditional bookstore. And the traditional bookstore at the end of the day went bankrupt. Take the example of Blockbuster. That is a video rental shop in the US. They had a huge chain in the US. They were valued at close to some $70–80 billion in the peak time. Then came Netflix. What is Netflix? Netflix is just streaming videos, streaming movies over the internet to anybody across the world at the cheapest price. So today, Blockbuster is nowhere there. They filed for bankruptcy some 3–4 years back. Today, Netflix is the largest video rental on the net across the world. Take the example of music companies. You have a lot of music companies like Sony and others, right? Apple came in. They created the iTunes. Today, iTunes is the largest music store in the world. They disrupted the whole model. Today, what does Sony and others do? They just supply content to Apple. They are not competing with Apple. They are just supplying content to Apple, and Apple has become the largest digital music store in the world. Take the example of gaming. There was a company called Nintendo, right? They came with a good video console called Wii. It was very popular some 10 years back. Today they are declining. The growth is declining by close to some 12–13% every year. They lost a competitive edge. Why? Because there are internet gaming companies like Zynga who has come. All of you will know the popular game called Formulae, right? That is created by Zynga. So they disrupted the traditional model, and Wii is no more there. Sony is struggling with the PS3, but Zynga has got $30 billion of valuation. Even take a company like Kodak. They were in the photo film roll business, right? And they got disrupted because the mobile phones came in and digital photography came in. They never saw the revolution coming in. And today nobody buys a film roll, right? And nobody takes a camera. They all take pictures from iPhones and other phones. Even if you take the digital marketing front, Google today is the largest marketing platform in the world. Slowly the print media will also lose its shine. US is already happening. Most of the print media is getting sold out, or the valuations are coming down dramatically. The digital advertising platform is picking up, and Google is the largest player. Even if you take telecom companies like Skype, Uber, they are taking a lot of business from the telecom companies. In fact, the TRIA chairman last week said the biggest disruption for the telecom companies in India is not from anything else other than WhatsApp. Because people are able to send free messages, able to make free calls, able to make free video conferencing over the net, and the traditional telecom companies are losing businesses. So we can go on and on. Even if you take LinkedIn, that is the largest recruitment platform in the world today. Nobody goes to a traditional recruitment firm. If you want a job, post your resume in LinkedIn, and somebody will call you and you can get a job. So I think more and more traditional business are getting disrupted because of the technology. There are a lot of ideas coming up. Today, if you take healthcare, for example, there are personal health monitor which can predict your heart attack 3 hours before you actually get the heart attack. So in real time, they monitor your health, and they have the big data where they can do analytics, and they can inform your doctor, and the doctor can call you and prescribe you medicine just before the event happens. Right? So healthcare is another area where technology is going to play a larger role. Even the iPhone 6 is going to come with a personal healthcare monitor. So you are going to carry your family doctor along with you wherever you go in the form of your iPhone going sooner. Right? And even if you take some of the sensors, the wearables, they are going to collect real-time data about your automobile, about your home, about your personal health, and it's all going to get integrated. So more and more technology is coming in all areas. world is going to see a big revolution in technology, which is going to be disruptive. It is going to increase productivity of people, and you are going to have a new way of life. But what all this means? It means the productivity is going to go up very high. The value is going to be created disproportionately, but it is going to be jobless growth. As I told you, large companies which create a lot of value don't add much jobs. Even in US, most of the low-end category of work is getting automated. Google is coming with a driverless car, right? That means over a period of time, people will not hire drivers. The car will run on its own. It has got its own sensors. It gets hooked to the satellite. You have the Google map. You tell the car where to go, it will go, right? And even in BPO, most of the things can be automated. 70-80% of the work in BPO can be automated. There is a company called IPsoft in the infrastructure management side. They automated 60-70% of the work in the infrastructure management side. So more and more you are going to see the work is getting automated. So the work is going to require less and less jobs, but is going to improve productivity of people disproportionately. So the innovation is happening in all spheres which are very disruptive but create high value. Take the example of Flipkart. What is Flipkart? It is Amazon equivalent in India, right? They don't make money. They're making losses. But the value today is $7 billion because they have a huge consumer base, and India especially has got a huge population base where they can reach, and they, because of the consumer base, they are able to get value in the market. So I think India has to participate in this innovative revolution happening across the world. And I saw in one of the magazine, Bangalore was ranked as number 20 in terms of startup, best place for startups in the world. I think Chennai is nowhere there, or Coimbatore is nowhere there. I think the government is realizing it. They're creating an ecosystem where they're trying to support the startups. They're trying to give some venture capital support. They're trying to give some infrastructure support. But the idea has to come from the industry, from the people. People who worked in the industry, they have to come out. If they have a good idea, funding is not an issue, infrastructure is not an issue, and you can address the global markets. Today, whatever solutions you bring in, it is not specific to India. It has to be for the global markets, right? So I think India is going to play a larger role in the product space. More and more private equity funds are willing to invest in India, especially the industries, the IT industry is maturing. A lot of people are coming out of the industry, starting their own companies. So I think today is the best time for innovation to happen in this country, especially in the technology space. All the stars are getting aligned. And what is required is good ideas. People should pursue the ideas, because if you start 10 companies, 4 or 5 will succeed, other 4 or 5 will fail. I am seeing a lot of entrepreneurs who are saying, now I started a company 2 years back, it was not doing well, I shut it down. I started another company, it's doing well. If it doesn't do well, I will shut it down and go and start another one, right? So you have to accept failures. All ideas will not succeed. Some ideas will succeed, some ideas will fail, but you have to pursue your passion. If you have a good idea, pursue it, make it big, make it globally disruptive, and you have a big play. I think India's hope is the youth. More than 50% of the population in this country is less than 30 years. And as you know, India thrives only on hope. If you see the reality, you lose hope and run away from the country. The hope is one thing which is keeping this country alive. The youth is giving that hope. And I am sure some of you who have got good ideas will be successful if you pursue that as an entrepreneur, create an innovative product for the global markets which are disruptive, then you have a game in that. I read a joke in the internet. One fellow go to a shop and asked the shopkeeper, what is the price of the product? He says $10. He asked, what is the cost of that product? He says $10. Then he says, where do you make money? He says, I make money in repairs. That means the product will definitely come back for repair. I'll make money in that. That is innovation. It may not be right, but that is one form of innovation. So I think all of you are young. Please reskill yourself, because technology is changing so dramatically. what you do today will not be relevant 2 years down the line. So you have to reskill yourself on a continuous basis, and you have to pursue your dream, pursue your idea. If you have a great idea, go for it. The ecosystem is today amenable for your ideas, and go all out and create great product ideas for this country, which will create the next revolution in the IT industry. Thank you.